Obviously, we're going virtual again tonight. We have done a series of in-person meetings, but circumstances dictate that tonight we go virtual, primarily just trying to keep everybody safe and maintain town operations while we're still within that potential incubation period following Thanksgiving. Hopefully in the not too distant future here, we're sort of turning the corner on this thing and getting back to normal. I know all of us would like to get back to meeting in person as opposed to on this and dealing with technical snafus as we are tonight. Now, with that being said, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. First order of official business, approval of September 8th. We have 2 minutes to approve. So let's start with this September 8th minutes. You should have these electronically and as sent out by Kelly. Any additions or corrections to the September 8th, 2020 minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve September 8th, 2020 minutes?
I'll make a motion we approve the September 8th, 2020 minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We have the October 13th, 2020 minutes as well. Those were also sent out to you. Any additions or corrections to the October 13th, 2020 minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to receive the October 2020 Treasury Report?
The Treasury Report or minutes?
Minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm skipping ahead because I'm reading. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dale.
That's okay.
October 13th, 2020 minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the October 13th, 2020 minutes as submitted.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I was getting ahead of myself there. So we also have we have a treasurer's report from October and a check register from November. So do we have a motion to receive the October treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion we receive the October Treasurer's Report.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Raise your right hand.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then November 2020 check register. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we receive the November 2020 check register.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Say aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. Let me pull up the couple of things here from Mayor's report. We're moving into year end here. Waste pickup has ended for the year. We'll pick up again in April. Again, I think it was pretty successful this year. We hear a lot of good things about the waste pickup. Please don't put that stuff into your leaves your leaves, or however you say that, leaves, I guess, as we use a different piece of machinery to pick that stuff up. Offices will be closed December 24th, 25th, and January 1st for the holidays. We will be picking up Christmas trees, 2 Christmas tree pickups again this year, Wednesday, January 6th and Wednesday, January 13th. We'll push that out on social media, also have it on the website, but please tell your friends and neighbors that that's a good service, and we don't want to see those things scattered about town. With your Christmas trees, please drag them down to the corner or to the street. Remove all decorations, including any temporary stands you might have. We're moving into potential snow season. No snow to speak of really yet. Please remember all streets, even where parking is permitted, are snow emergency routes. So when it does snow or when the snow emergency plan goes into effect, please remove your car from the street, find alternate parking capabilities, and if possible, help your neighbors. Try to keep the hydrants clear, the drains clear, and the mailboxes. A couple of items of note here. 10 years of service, as many of you know that are either on this call or maybe watching. The town of Manchester has been blessed with a number of very long-term employees. These three gentlemen just passed their 10 years, Billy Black, Kenny Black, and Gary Epley. So congratulations to those guys. Thank you for all your years of service to the town of Manchester and to our community. You know, in more ways than just working for the town, but we definitely appreciate your work for the town. And we hope that you're here for the long term. We did hire one additional person over the past month since we last met, Danielle Owens. She's coming to the staff as a billing specialist. And as many of you may know, and for those of you that don't,
Mr. Mayor, I'm having some audio problems. Could you give me 1 second? Just give me 1 second. I have to get the IT person in here. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
1 second.
Let me know when that's all good.
Vince has joined us.
Vince, you there?
I'm here. I'm on the phone now. I don't know what the deal is with the computer. Sorry about that.
I don't know what's wrong with it. Just sit there. I can't do it.
I see.
Sit there.
I see faces that shouldn't be on there. What is this?
I don't know. Okay, Mr. Mayor, can you try it again and see if I can hear?
Are we?
You can take your mask off.
IT person here.
We got everybody in the room here.
I think so, yes.
What is this?
So I'm actually having a visual, a problem with my audio is kicked out here, but I can hear as long as you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
As we were saying, we did hire somebody over the past month. That person will be replacing our own Lori Miller. Lori Miller is retiring effective 12/23/20. She is now has joined us through some trickery from Steve. So we're being joined by her son Greg, his wife Hannah, their daughter Christy, husband Eddie, and very new granddaughter Auburn. Lori's been with the town over 18 years. Dedicated, loyal, consistent. Many of you have probably seen her walking to and from work. You know, she's there every day, in and out, answers the phones, always pleasant. You know, I've been around almost that amount of time, and Lori's really been, you know, a consistent face and voice in the town, and she's going to be missed, not just by me, but by everybody that works for the town, and she has big shoes to fill for those coming in. So I know, Lori, that the town has something for you. I'll let Kelly Baldwin speak to that, but just for me, thank you for all your years of service. Won't be the same without you. We hope you enjoy your retirement, and we know you have a lot of things to look forward to and enjoy in the years to come. So thank you for everything you've done, and I'll let Kelly talk for a minute here.
So Lori, I have to tell you, you brought the cutest Zoom guests to our meetings, I have to say. But Steve should be able to hand you something, and just a token of, Steve, I don't see in the background, just a token of, you know, our gratitude towards you. Can I tell you, you are a very hard person to come up with for a gift. With COVID going on, we can't do the things we'd like to do for a luncheon or what have you. So with the help of your children giving me ideas, because Steve was no good, came up with a combination, a little bit of chocolate to go along with a camping weekend, because I know that's what you enjoy.
Oh, thank you.
So we love you. We're gonna miss you. But we know where you'll be. So keep your phone on.
I gotta tell you, all I can think about is getting my hands on that little baby that I can see on one of the screens.
I know, little angel. Yes. So thanks again for everything. You've been, such an asset to us here, and personally, professionally, and we're gonna miss you. But yeah, we'll be getting a hold of you. So thank you.
you. Somebody could have told me to dress up a little more.
Knowing you, you would have come.
Yes, it's definitely a surprise.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, Laurie.
Thank you, Lori.
He's gonna get it when he gets home.
All right, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, am I allowed to go home now?
Yes, you are.
But what if we need more IT help?
Yeah.
Thank you, Lori, and congratulations to the entire family. I did get my video back up. So I saw Greg and Christy and family. Everybody looks great. And thank you, Kelly, for your help. And Steve, I'm turning it over to you here. Congrats to you, as well on the big move in your family. And I'll turn it over to you for your part of the town administrator report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council members and members of the community. We'll go ahead and review the November 2020 administrative report. Under pending items, the opioid litigation, we have nothing at this time. The Trout Unlimited project, that is moving forward. I did send everyone a copy of the grant-funded report that Trout Unlimited had completed. The Manchester Valley High School electronic sign, the town has received nothing from the Board of Education. The High School Advisory Council did meet on November the 16th. I did receive a phone call today. Some of the group will be meeting with BG&E Engineering Group on Friday to talk about getting electric to that site. The 2906 Hanover Pike, we did have, Michelle and I had a meeting with our town attorney on December 1st. A letter from the town to the property owners as well as Carroll County Health Department will be drafted in regards to the town's stand on this property and with options for the owners to take. We need to talk a little bit, you'll hear more about this over the next 3 or 4 months. Our lease agreement with AT&T Mobility, who is one of the carriers on our York Street water tank. Our current lease expires in September of 21. This lease extension is currently being reviewed by our town attorney and town staff. So you'll be hearing more over the next several months about that. Also, the personnel policy update. I would really like to get a meeting in as soon as possible. I know it's going to be tough over the holidays, but if any way we can squeeze a meeting in to discuss our personnel policy updates, I would appreciate it. Under code enforcement, the monthly update will be supplied to everyone next week. Under miscellaneous items, of course, I want to echo the same sentiments as Mayor Warner. I want to welcome Ms. Danielle Owens to her staff. And I want to wish Laurie all the best in her retirement, which I do envy her. She gets to retire and I get to come to work every day. So I don't know what's wrong with that. But anyway, that's a whole nother situation. But anyway, the small cell ordinance, that's an agenda item for tonight. The 3215 Long Lane property, the tenant is approximately a little bit more than 75% cleaning out the building, and they have requested a walkthrough over the next several weeks. We have started the process to sell the property. That has begun. Water and sewer bills, as of right now, as per the governor's orders, late fees and water shutoffs can be reinstated. And I did confirm this with MML, so I wanted to double back and make sure that is correct. And we are correct, and we will start doing that beginning of the year. Our Christmas wreaths will be going up this Thursday with all safety protocol in place. Under the COVID-19 and CARES funding, Manchester was notified on December 1st that we would be receiving additional funds to supplement employees' pay that were and are currently in harm's way. All CARES projects continue to move forward. Again, this has been a huge challenge to meet the December 30th deadline, but I feel comfortable we're going to do it. I'll just run down through some of the projects and give you a brief overall time span when they're going to be completed. Of course, we received the portable showers, the automatic doors here at Town Hall and the park bathrooms. That should be complete at the end of next week. Our radio system, which is our secondary communication system, that should be completed this Friday. Scanners, printers, copiers, we should be receiving that equipment within the next 2 weeks. Our UV systems for disinfection, the first shipment did arrive. We put those in service. The second shipment I expect either tomorrow or the next day. Our laptops, some of those are in service. And also we're preparing to purchase enough PPE and hand sanitizer and so on and so forth for a 60 to 90 day supply. So this has been a challenge, but we're going to, I feel very comfortable we're going to make the December 30th deadline. In closing, I'd like to wish the mayor and council and all the residents a very happy and safe holiday season from all the staff here at the town of Manchester. Any questions for me?
Nothing here.
Nothing at this point from me, Steve. I think so we have agenda items for the couple things that I would have asked about anyway. Does anybody else have anything for the town administrator?
No.
Hearing none, moving to the public works report. Rodney?
Everybody hear me okay? Hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. From my standpoint, on behalf of Public Works, it's been a pleasure working with Lori. I've only known her 2 years. She has just been a pleasure. And I know I'm speaking for everyone in Public Works. We wish her well, and she'll be greatly missed. So moving on to the Public Works report, please see the provided monthly water and wastewater data report for November 2020. We had 0 snow or ice events for November. DPW is continuing to work in a safe manner during the COVID-19 pandemic. We are utilizing PPE, we're social distancing. Our staff is reporting to different locations throughout the town, to and from work to keep our grouping small. Water, the Park Avenue Tank Rehab Project, the bid opening for this was November 2020. We received 4 proposals, and this is an action item coming up shortly. For the inspection services portion of this project, we moved that out to December 30th, 2020, and this will be a 2021 spring project. The Devwell generator automatic transfer switch replacement, this is 100% complete, and it turned out very well, very nice work, and this was an outside contractor, Eastern Sales and Engineering. The wastewater treatment plant ENR upgrade and optional expansion, the PER, also known as preliminary engineering report. We're still in the phase 1 testing and evaluation stage of this. The PER final report is scheduled and due spring of 2021. The wastewater treatment plant UV disinfection system upgrade, phase 1, which is the bulb rack refurbishing portion. The refurbished racks were received in October. Our field staff reassembled them and they're installed and working well. The treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant effluent switchover from spray irrigation to stream discharge occurred December 1st, 2020. And just a reminder, our stream discharge is from December 1st to February 28th. And this is in accordance with the town's MDE permit. Parks, maintenance and roads, our street and town facility asphalt rehab projects is 99% complete. The contractor is currently working through some minor punch list items, and the contractor is CJ Miller. Our mowing equipment preventive maintenance during winter months, all mowing equipment gets a thorough service and maintenance check, and our staff is taking care of this. For the action item for tonight, the Park Avenue Tank Rehab Project, we received 4 proposals. DPW is requesting the mayor and town council's approval to award the rehab portion of this project to the lowest responsible bidder. And it came in as K&K Painting Incorporated in the amount of $189,500. And this is well within the budget that we budgeted for last year.
Rodney, what was the budget on that?
$347,000.
Not to go too far down a rabbit hole tonight, but $347,000 is a pretty specific amount. Is that based on, was that like square footage or something like that?
Well, I met with one contractor a couple years ago, and he gave me a ballpark figure. It did come in lower than we anticipated. I think, to my understanding, COVID probably worked to our advantage in this instant. It was a very competitive bid. We had 4 come in, and I think, from my understanding, contractors are really needing work.
So it's still a difference of a little over $150,000, assuming that piece is labor. Have we worked with K&K before, and do you have any reason to believe that we're not getting what we're paying for there with it being that far off?
In my previous employment with Carroll County, I worked with them on 2 projects, and I did follow up with references, and they checked out very well. And I have no problem holding their feet to the fire with the specs and the scope of the project.
Rodney, I'm sorry if you said that. I was taking a note. Where are they located?
Oh, wow. Near Baltimore area. This budget amount also includes inspection services also. So we're not sure how that's going to come in also. So that'll eat up some of that project, the project budget.
If I can say something, we had it previously in the budget for like 315,000. We didn't know if we had enough, and we wanted to put in the inspection, so that's why we bumped up to 347. So this has just been, a little while in the making.
Okay. Still some savings over an estimate that we received at some point in the past between the 315 and 189.5.
Right.
Though.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, well, Rodney, you feel comfortable going forward with K&K at 189.5?
I do. Again, I checked up with references just to make sure they're still doing good work, and they came out as responsible and excellent workmanship.
Gotcha.
And they have actually done work for the county.
Yeah, they painted Mart's Tower and also the tower by Francis Scott Key.
Any other questions on the action item? There's no other questions. Do we have a motion to move forward with the staff recommendation, the bid for K&K, the York Street project for $189,500?
I'll make a motion that we accept K&K Painting's bid in the amount of $189,500 for the Park Avenue Tower Rehab Project.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion in the second. Any other discussion or last minute questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Rodney, was that your only action item for tonight?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Director of Public Works before we move on?
No.
All right, moving to the police report. Chief?
Yes, sir. First and foremost, it definitely has been a pleasure working with Laurie. She was one of the hardest working persons over on that side. Definitely Steve's better half. Steve's going to be lost because she was certainly doing more with a lot less dealing with Steve. And Jeffrey Kazmaier is going to be leaving in April. And Laurie, if you can hear me, he wants you to join the pickleball team Manchester has here in the courts. Pat already. On a police note, our calls for service have definitely dropped. We responded to 170 calls. 171 calls in October, and we only received 107 calls for the month of November. Our biggest crime was an assault. Everything else appears to be minor in nature. The county's been pretty quiet on this end. The southern end of the county is having some problems. Our traffic enforcement continues. I got to be frank, we've been spread out in the town due to incoming complaints. Our citations are still high. We're doing about 130 citations and warnings. We had 4 traffic arrests to include 2 for DWI and DUI. The officers have had a lot of training this month, and it's continuing into December to meet their mandates, and some new mandates have been coming across the board with de-escalation and things of that nature. Overdose cases, they're still high in the county, but that's across the nation. It's 391 year to date. 165 of them are heroin and fentanyl. There's been 44 fatalities in the county, and Manchester has 1 overdose case year to date, which is actually good news. We have received a lot of appreciation in the form of cards and baked goods. I'd really like to especially thank Barb and Leroy Myers from Castlefield, Barb Carr from Hampstead, Donna Trigliani from Melrose, and Ron Stout and Janet Brown for their appreciation. Outside of that, it's been pretty quiet in town, and we're continuing with the COVID-19 precautions and just moving on.
I'm sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, Chief, I know that I've seen, as I've been out and about and home a little more than I was, I guess, over the pre-Thanksgiving time. I've seen the guys out there in the community, on the streets. I am hearing, positive things, but I know it's it's kind of, we're always fighting a constant battle there. But if you can, please, if we can keep up the traffic enforcement in the absence of anything more serious going on, I'm personally getting good feedback, and people feel good when they see, the police out in the community and looking out for their neighborhoods.
Yes, sir.
Anything else for the chief?
Nothing here.
Hearing none, we're going to move over to Mr. Bill Early from CLA. It's audit report time again. I know Bill's probably been presenting to us for, Bill, you may have predated me at 20 years now, so I don't know how many years it's been, but we get together here once a year.
Yeah, it has been quite a while. I can't even remember how long. I know I was a staff when I first started on it. So it's been well over 20 years then. And I would retire also if I had Steve as a boss. Let's all put that out there. I've been working with Steve for those 23 years. So, but no, it is audit time once again. This year's audit was in 23 years, it was the most unusual audit we've ever done. We were fully remote during our audit. Thank goodness for technology. Everything we were able to use, portals, email, Teams as needed to kind of upload information and send information back and forth. So we were able to complete the audit on time. As always, it was a little bit of a rush at the end, the last week or two, because we all we go out in July, we get all the information from Kelly, we work on it throughout the year, and then all of a sudden everybody realizes their deadline and we scour around and get it done. It was issued to the state by the required 10/31 deadline this year. You all should have a copy of or received 3 reports. One is the actual financial statements. Remember, they're on a GAAP basis. However, most of what you all talk about and do on a daily basis is budgetary basis. So there is a difference in the numbers there, but you do see the budget is presented in there. Your budget to actual statements are in those financial statements. The other two letters, I'm going to go over the one first is your governance letter. You all as the town council, as you know, many of the faces I see every year are charged with governance of the town. So we do issue that letter to your attention. That letter basically goes over any accounting policies that changed during the year, which there were none. Accounting estimates, which basically you just have fixed asset, and the net pension liability, which is calculated essentially on numbers by the state. You would have there. There was no difficulties encountered in performing our audit this year outside of any technology issues we may have had. Just doing it remotely, which is just quite the different way of auditing. No uncorrected misstatements that we noted. We did have some corrected ones that were both material and immaterial that we bring to Kelly's attention, and she makes the journal entries to book them. That's routine. That is common in the accounting profession. That's what you pay us for, is to find anything that needs to be corrected. So we do that. We had no disagreements with Kelly. We worked with Kelly and actually all the staff there. We visit each of them, and depending upon what department they're in, water, sewer, billings, we look at. So no disagreements with any member of management outside of any problems that Steve causes sometimes, just to make sure we're on our toes. They did sign a representation letters telling us everything they said was truthful and accurate to the best of their knowledge. There was no consultation with other accountants. There was no significant issues discussed with us prior to our retention as the auditors. And then we did have some other audit findings that we did discuss with you in years past that I will say are still there and will continue to still be there. And that is the preparation of financial statements, which we do on behalf of the town. The town asks us, we do send them over to you all for review and acceptance. And mainly that's because when the Governmental Accounting Standards Board rolls out new accounting standards to follow, you do rely on the experts, and that's what we're here for, is to provide you guidance with that information. So you engage us to actually prepare the financial statements in accordance with those accounting policies and procedures. Because as I said before, you all focus on a budgetary basis on a kind of month-to-month accounting standards. With that said, we also do have the segregation of duties issue that's, due to the limited size of the town, there's always going to be that segregation of duties. I don't think you're trying to expand your finance department or your town administration offices to meet those. You do have checks and balances in place, which I was able to just observe tonight, which is the acceptance of your check register by you all as the council. That's one of the recommendations we had years ago, and you continue to do that and review that on a monthly basis. And the treasurer's report that you receive and review and open it to any questions that we observed earlier today. So that happens on a monthly basis. That's one of your compensating controls. But we do have to report that. It's part of the, you can't really do anything about it. It is a segregation of duties issue that will continue to be just due to the size of the town. All in all, everything was a good audit. Everybody was very helpful. Hats off to Kelly for completing her first remote audit. It was not easy for any of us, but it was obtained and completed. Hopefully next year we'll be sitting back out there and can be harassed by Steve as he walks around and checks on us. But besides that, I really got nothing else to report, and I'll just answer any questions you all may have on the financial statements or any of the reports that we delivered.
So Bill, just to clarify, it is an unqualified report, I believe. Is that correct?
I did miss that, Ryan. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. It was an unqualified report, which is the best report we can give on the financial statements.
Thanks. Any other questions for Bill early on the audit process, the findings that we tend to have or consistently have, I guess is a better way to put it, in terms of primarily segregation of duties and how we compensate those controls. Anybody have any questions for Bill? All right, hearing none. Bill, thanks again. Great job. Pleasure working with you guys. And, we're happy to get a clean bill of health from a financial and internal control standpoint again this year. And we'll continue to work to do everything we can over the next year.
All right. Thank you all. Happy holidays, everyone.
All right, happy holidays. All right, moving on. We handled the Park Avenue tank rehabilitation project already. Next item of business is discussion of ordinance 246, which relates to small cell tower structures. Steve, can you catch us up on kind of where we are with this and any action that is needed tonight?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. As you recall, last month, ordinance 246 was introduced. I talked a little bit about that. Basically, an overall view of that is the planning and zoning group, hats off to them. We spent a few months working on this project. They did a fine job, but basically, as I explained last month, we want these units, if people come to us and actually want to install these units at different locations, and I'm talking about the carriers, we want them to look nice and neat and presentable. We don't want just a big old metal pole out there with an antenna on top of it sticking out somewhere in a residential neighborhood or in a park setting or in some other type of area. So this kind of narrows it down and it gives them parameters to work with. And again, we have one in town, which is off of Monroe Street. And that's not too bad. It's pretty presentable. But as I mentioned last month, there are many around the county that are basically, in my opinion, they're eyesores. And this narrows the scope down to what we will allow and go from there. I think it's a good piece of legislation. I think it's much needed because I feel that these carriers will be knocking on our door within the next 12 to 18 months. I can see that happening. So that's about it.
Thanks, Steve. I think it was a good summary. And I agree with the town administrator here. I'll give you guys my opinion, and I think it's important to have something in place. I think as proposed, this is as good as we could reasonably get. And thank you to planning and zoning group, Dale, Michelle, and I know those that took part in this. My one caveat on this whole thing will be that this may not be the end. This is certainly something that MML is taking on, and it's a fight nationwide. So we're going to need to keep one eye on the developments with this as this goes on. So if things start to develop, either there's national legislation that could invalidate or change something that we have in there, or there becomes a better best practice, so to speak, for us to adopt with some other communities that are similar to ours across the state and nation. I think we should keep an eye on that. So that being said, I'm supportive of what we have here right now. I just don't know that we should completely drop this and assume that we're done going forward. That's kind of my opinion, but I'm open to others' thoughts as well.
Ryan, I think you're right. I do agree wholeheartedly that we need to keep that in our sights.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's just important to get something, the best that we can do right now, which I think is where we're at for our town. And then let's keep an eye on things. Certainly, as MML has us on their radar. So I think virtually every summer conference, whatever that means at this point, every fall conference, that this is being talked about. So we just need to keep an eye on what's going on. So
It was. I attended a workshop at the last conference about this, and they highly recommended you get something in place before these companies get there because it is whatever they want to do. So I'm for, putting something in place now and then updating it or whatever we need to do.
Yep, I agree.
Also, just to add something, as I mentioned in my report, be aware of my information that I will be bringing back to you over the next several months when our town attorney and I review the lease for the AT&T space on the York Street tank. So you will hear a lot of things that come out during negotiations that will kind of blow your mind on how much space they want and how much little they want to pay for space. So these companies come in and they basically take over. So that's
Yes.
a little, yes. I just wanted to add that.
I'll just add also that the ordinance in discussion, number 246, does incorporate all the recommendations made by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yeah, that's a good point. Dale, you want to make a motion that we approve ordinance 246 related to small cell tower structures?
Gladly. I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 246 relating to small cell tower structures.
I'll second the motion.
I heard a second from Councilwoman Howe. So we have a motion, a second. Any other discussion or comments on this? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, well, that's official business. Kelly or Steve or anyone else, did we receive anything? I did not, other than the things I brought up that I mentioned either in the report or during the police report. I don't have anything else from the community. Do we receive anything specific?
I did not receive anything. We have Mr. Elwin Wagner here, president of Manchester Volunteer Fire Department.
Yeah, I think that this would be a good time. Thank you, Steve, for reminding me that we didn't put it anywhere else on the agenda. Mr. Wagner, you have the floor if you'd like to go first during this segment.
Thank you for not putting me on the agenda, but okay.
Again, I'm putting you on the next time.
Okay, that's all right. Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, councilmen and women, for allowing me to join your meeting this evening. And before I actually forget, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a very safe one as well. Also want to wish Laurie Miller best wishes as well. I hear she's going to turn her walking shoes over to Kelly now. So anyway, I'll make this short and sweet. I want to first extend a heartfelt thanks to you all for providing a generous financial contribution to the fire department in the past. We've always tried to put that money to good use. Last year, we replaced our deteriorating roof on the activities building and got that it was starting to leak pretty bad, so we took care of that. And so secondly, I come to you tonight asking for your financial support once again this year. And again, we want to put this money to good use, and we have a special project and a need that we'd like to use this money for, and that is to upgrade our phones and our security system. We currently have an old analog camera system in the activities building and down at the fire hall, and it's time now that we upgrade to more into the digital world. So that's what we have planned. Some of the benefits of doing that from the camera standpoint is that we'll be able to allow us to have more storage to store the recordings. We'll also have a redundancy of storage so that if we have our server storage go down, we still have auxiliary, so we would have the backup for that for any recordings. We would have faster and more enhanced retrieval of the recordings. We'll have remote access and motion detection, just to name a few. Our phone system is probably at least 25 years old, and we're now borrowing, stealing from phones from other sections of the fire hall, whatever, to put together because we can't get parts for the phones. So we need to upgrade our phones in the phone down at the fire hall mainly. There is one up in the activities building as well. So this money would be used for that. We slated that, you know, if you were just so kind and generous to be able to provide that for us again once a year, or this year, that we would use that money for that project. I don't necessarily looking for an answer tonight because I'm sure you all need to discuss it and vote on it, but it certainly would be appreciated whatever you could do for us. Particularly in this during this pandemic, our fundraisers are come to a screeching halt, so we just don't have that money coming in. So it would very much be accepted and great. We would be gracious for that.
I don't understand. Are you asking for extra money now? Or are you telling us what our contribution is for the next budget? Year, what we'll be using it
Yeah,
for?
whatever your contribution is, we would be using it for this project.
I gotcha. Thank you. Gotcha.
Yeah, Councilwoman Howe, and I'm gonna let Kelly and or Steve jump in here. I think, you know, from a slight departure from previous processes is that we budgeted an amount that you know, to help the fire department, and we're wanting to attach that to a more tangible you know, type of thing, like, hey, how can we help you? Please let us know how we can help you. You're a vital part of the community, first responders, public safety, and we want to continue to participate that, particularly in this year where, you know, we do know they've had reduced capability in terms of being able to raise funds and perform their operations. So I think what Mr. Wagner's doing is coming and saying, hey, here's a tangible way, you know, where we could use some help. And then, you know, rather than simply, you know, cutting a check that's not attached to anything, say, hey, here's what we're doing, you know, because, you know, all money that we take is tax money. And then that way we're able to kind of tie that to something in a tangible way that we're helping both, you know, our local fire department, and in doing so, the community at large as well. So, Ellen, I didn't mean to say that for you. That's just sort of, you know, I guess the way.
Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth.
So I think, and Ellen, I don't know your timing on this. What I would suggest is that if you have an estimate or you have a you know, something from where you're going to get this
$31,200.
Okay, then you know, if you can get that, and we can get that in front of the group. If you don't need it right away, I think the most proper way to do it, in conjunction with kind of how we handle other items with which we disperse money, would be to put that in front of our council, probably at the January meeting, if that works for you, and then we would vote on that expenditure out of our budgeted amount at that point.
Okay.
Does that work for everybody?
Yep. And I would like to say I appreciate that we have it, an idea that we would have it earmarked, like the year that we did the striker stretcher, where the fire department came to us and said, you know, this is what we would like to use the money for. It's nice to be able to tell the community and the residents, hey, this is where the money went and this is what it went to support and better our community.
Yeah,
Now, this would be in addition to what we gave in the beginning of this budget year.
No, I have not cut the check yet. So we budgeted 30,000. And if I'm understanding correctly, we'll just give, even though it's 31.2, you'll just get 30 if they.
Yeah.
So, right.
I mean, obviously, you know,
Right. Okay.
that what you give would go towards that, and then we would, you know, obviously supplement the remaining amount.
Okay.
Yeah, Councilman Wilder, to your point, just we discussed putting a little more structure and transparency around the amounts that we're putting out for anything. So rather than just cutting a check, let's say that we start a fiscal year July 1st, cutting a check July 2nd. I know it's not the real date, but you know, in amount is that, you know, whenever they have a need within a budgeted amount that we think that we can help out with, that we would then tie that to something specific and vote on it in order to show the taxpayers kind of where that's going. So it's not in addition to, it's just kind of like what Councilman Miller had said in terms of, you know, the year that we said, hey, this is, you know, like they could use this this lift bed, whatever that thing was called. I'm saying it the wrong way, but and we helped to fund that was a better way for us to do things than just
Okay. Yeah, I misunderstood. I thought that we'd already approved that donation.
Well, we approved the budget, but I think then we then asked for, like, hey, let's just try to tie it to something specific. This comes out of the budgeted amount. Any other questions for Mr. Wagner?
No, that was a good
All right.
summary. I appreciate that summary. That was very good, Ellen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ellen. And Ellen, if you can work with over the, I know the holidays are coming up, and the holidays are different for all of us this year. If you can work with Kelly and Steve to get something in front of the group for the January meeting, and we'll plan to move forward at that point.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Thank you.
All right. Well,
I'm going to leave right now. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I'm going to watch a football game.
You're not required to stay. Enjoy the game, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you all.
All right. All right. Kelly or Steve, or anyone else in the office, do we have anything else from the community?
No, but can I say one thing? I wanted to say thank you to Ruth Pacelli because we did the new sign at Whispering Valley, and Ruth approached me about putting in some flowers and some annuals, and I said absolutely. And what she did, and it was wonderful, and I just didn't want to forget to thank her for that. So just so you know, those are the touches that people do that go, without saying, but I had to mention that. So thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Kelly. I'll pass that on.
Speaking of the sign in the front of the school, is there anything that can be done about all that brush out in front? It kind of become unsightly, and it covers the other Manchester Valley sign, and
Yes.
kind of clean
Yes,
up.
Councilman Water. I attended back, it was last year, I attended an hour and a half meeting with representatives from the Board of Education explaining the areas in front of the school, the wetland, and the type of growth that's there. I know one of the Board of Education members was also present at that meeting, and we raised the same question. This looks hideous in front of a brand new school. Unfortunately, the way that the different areas are, it's a natural habitat in that area, and there's not much that can be done down there. I know Mrs. Herbert, board member, also was concerned about that, but Ray Prokoff and Jim March from the Board of Education gave us a 45-minute presentation on that whole area there, and actually there's nothing much that can be done down. I agree with you 100%. I truly do.
It's a shame because it's going to continue to grow tall.
It is. And in my opinion, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I think there were a lot of scrub trees down there that are getting out of control. They could be removed. Unfortunately, they can't because of the habitat, the wetland. So,
well, thank you for that, Steve. I'm glad you're on top of it. Should have known that. Should have known it already.
Okay. All right. Well, no other comments at this point. We will move into committee reports. Councilwoman Smith's not here. Councilwoman Miller.
Okay, the one thing that I have to report is I want to thank all of the people who were able to help create decorations this year for the town tree. I know with the situation with the schools and things, it was difficult for some of the students at Manchester to be able to do it in the art class like they typically do in the past. So I want to thank the art teacher, Mrs. Smith, for opening it up to the students to do as a virtual project when they were learning virtually or remotely. The students had the opportunity to make decorations and drop them off to a drop box in the building. We also reached out this year to some Ebb Valley students, and we had some Ebb Valley students who participated and made some decorations, and we reached out to Building Blocks Childcare Center right behind Pizza Garden, and their school-age kids in their downtime around their virtual learning created some ornaments that we were able to use to supplement what we unfortunately weren't able to get from the students because of the COVID pandemic. So thank you to everyone who helped out with that. And that's all that I have to report.
Very good. That's all you have to report? As I heard, I don't want to give away too much of your personal
Yeah,
Hopefully
we still
here-
have another week till I have something else to report.
All right, well, if we don't talk to you before then, best of luck. We hear there's a new girl Miller on the way
There is. Yep, next
but-
Thursday.
here before
So-
Christmas.
Yep.
So, good luck with that. And we look forward to seeing the pictures and moving into the new year with one more of you.
Yep. Thank you.
So best of luck and congratulations preemptively. Tell Brian we said the same thing.
I will. Thank you very much.
Okay. Councilman Bocelli.
I have nothing to report.
Well, it's good to see you though.
Okay, thank you. Me
Yeah.
too.
Councilwoman Howe.
I have nothing to report. The meeting is next week.
Okay. Councilman Walder.
Likewise, there was nothing on the agenda, so Planning and Zoning Commission did not meet last month.
Yeah, typical slow time for planning and zoning. We're kind of in a holding pattern with the two annexations right now. So more to come, I think, after the first of the year on those. And just for benefit of the council, we do expect to kind of try to get to the table. I know when we had that discussion, we were hoping COVID would not ramp up. COVID has ramped up. So we'll see how things present themselves. But as long as, and I know the town attorney is on the phone tonight, as long as their group and their representation is okay with moving slowly in order to reach the best decisions we can, as opposed to rushing something, I think that's the most prudent way to go forward. So hopefully you guys are on board with that and agree.
Well, I just hope we don't delay it too much.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I'm happy to move forward, but some of these things, particularly like with the Lippy, we need to get to the table and kind of see. We need to have some real conversations about if there's a path and what yes would mean and what no would mean, at least in my mind. But you guys have the vote. This is kind of where I am. Trent, we haven't seen you in a while. I know you have not been busy in school, but I am interested to hear what you have to say.
I actually have a good bit. I might have the longest committee report this week, it seems.
Well, you got 30 seconds, so.
Oh gosh, okay, let's go. Okay, so we're halfway through the second quarter, and something I don't think I mentioned before is kind of how the grading system was changed last year. For classes that were semester long, as the pandemic hit kind of near the end of the third quarter, grades for the third quarter were just kind of sustained, and based on how well work was done in the third quarter, unless you tanked significantly, grades were pretty stable throughout the fourth quarter. But for classes that were fully virtual, say only half a semester long, that occurred fully in pandemic season, were pass fail because they weren't too fleshed out yet as they were this year. Versus this year, we have our standard grading system. The one thing I'm not still sure about is there are certain state tests like the MISA that are graduation requirements that are that span multiple classes, your biology, chemistry, and physics, but they didn't occur in last year because of everything going on. So I'm not quite sure how that will turn out in the coming years. It wasn't a graduation requirement leading up to last year. It was supposed to be the first year that it was required, but I assume not anymore. When it comes to the community, the International Thespian Society, which is the honors drama club, to keep it short, has recorded a series of holiday radio shows to kind of fit with our social distancing. And those will be streaming leading up to Christmas Eve on the Drama Club YouTube channel. Likewise, the class honors theater production is producing The Tempest, which will be streaming late in January. Due to us being out of school, it's a little harder to gather school spirit and take photos for yearbook. That's been a large issue I've heard all over yearbook, trying to get pictures and photos, really trying to get our holiday events, get people into their fuzzy socks and flannels. The SGA was selling MVHS water bottles. At least clubs seem to be gaining more traction, meeting on a more regular basis, which is nice as we are really getting a handle on virtual schooling, though we hope it doesn't last too much longer. Winter sports are slated to begin next Monday, but there's a Board of Education meeting tomorrow, to my knowledge, or at least an athletic meeting tomorrow. So hopefully nothing gets changed with that. And likewise, after counting each day, we are about 124 days left in the hopefully not too virtual school year. And that is all.
That's it, huh?
It's been good to be back.
So did you, with everything that was going on, did you get to actually go in any of the days that were open?
I chose personally not to. I have some family people in the house who have compromised immune systems, and I was like, I don't want to risk any of that. And I had a feeling we weren't going to stay for too long.
Yeah, well, you were right. So, all right. Well,
wasn't a hope, just a feeling.
Is that a song?
Sounded like hooked on a feeling a little. I don't know.
All right. Well, good to see you, and I hope things continue to trend in the direction that will get you guys back into school and get you as normal of a remainder of a senior year, and for everybody else, whatever year they're in, as we can, as everybody recognizes the challenges that we're facing. But it's for students and for young people that kind of have one go around on this. It's definitely not great. So.
Yeah, hopefully the best for us and the Warner children for our graduation.
Yeah, we'll see. They say they're not going, but
we can always hope.
Well, appreciate everything you're doing for the town, and it's always a pleasure to have you involved. So
no work at all.
All right. Well, have a good holiday, and hope to see you in January. Before final thoughts, and anybody have anything else for this group?
Ryan, I do have a resident on the line. She would like to address the mayor council, so I have her on speakerphone.
All right, we'll do the best we can here with our technology.
Okay, you're on.
Okay, hi, my name is Megan Hale, and I live on Main Street. And I just wanted to call in because I've been living here in Manchester for about 10 years. And I catch the town hall meetings every once in a while. And if I can, find it on Carroll Media Center on YouTube, I try to catch up. But there are a lot of things that I seem to be missing. And I think that I know as a resident myself, I would love to see more of is advertising all the great things that are going on behind the scenes that someone might be missing if they don't tune in to the town council meetings, and putting that on YouTube, Facebook. For example, the idea that kids were creating decorations for the town tree, that's something I didn't know about, and that also maybe could have been something where if families knew that there was a need, that we could have done that on our own and then brought them somewhere to drop off. So for me, it's really, social media is kind of where it's at these days, and I would love to see the town of Manchester posting more often on things other than, brush pickup, or the town council meeting can be streamed here. Just to showcase our small town a little bit more. With Hampstead right down the road, there's some small town envy going on right now with, all of the stuff that's happening down there. I think that we could bring some life to Manchester if we just showcase what's going on. And then I also have a question about, I know that the last time I tuned in to the town council meeting, you were talking about bids for tree trimming. And I know over the summer, the trees on Main Street didn't get trimmed. Is that in the process of happening, or should we just start snipping all the branches that are coming over onto our porch?
Let me break those up into two. I'm going to address your first point first, and then here, while I'm talking, I'll let the town administrator, Steve Miller, address the second point. Your first point is well taken. I don't want to put Councilwoman Howe on the spot, but her and I have maybe once or twice a month some long conversations. And
Yes.
we've been talking, and she has a lot of ideas on updating some committee assignments. Each of the council people, council persons, I think is the right way to say it, are responsible for an area. And some of those are becoming kind of legacy, right? We've always done what we've always done. And it works, and it works on a very operational, from an operational standpoint, is a better way to say it. But we've talked about things about having folks, you know, in more in charge of, like Deb handles a lot of parks, and she goes to meetings, and she gets on me, and she gets on in a good way, and her and I have a good relationship, but and she'll get on people about, you know, hey, there's too much trash over here, and that's a very valid point. We gotta get that trash picked up. This is our town, it's our community. But to your point around postings, we've talked about a calendar, whether that calendar is printed or online. And I almost view this as a community outreach. So do we come up with something that's a community outreach coordinator, and that becomes a duty of you know, either somebody that's on the council and a committee assignment that their job every month is to highlight one or two things. Trent can probably help us with some of those sort of things as he's plugged in. Yeah, so yes, that point well taken. We can and should do better. And we probably focus a little too hard on some of just the core functions, right? Like, hey, we you know, we have to protect the town streets. We have to do this. We have to make sure trash gets picked up, brush gets picked up, snow gets plowed. And I think that we're pretty good at those things. Could we be better at self-marketing? Absolutely, we could. And that's a point well taken. So with that, I'll ask Steve to step in. I know that we did bid out the tree trimming a few weeks ago. I don't know the timing on that or where that is. But no, you should not have to trim those trees out front yourselves. That's something that we collectively should be able to handle as a town, and we do bid out. So,
Mr. Mayor, before we jump over, can I jump in real quick in regards to
Certainly.
the decorations? So what happened in regards to that is, in the years past, the students at Manchester, the art classes have historically done made the decorations and taken them themselves. There was a very quick turnaround on when the school system switched from the hybrid model to the virtual back to the virtual model. I know that we at the town level had drafted, I guess a social media post is the best way to put it. We talked about putting it out into the community on as many outlets as we could. I am not on social media, so I'm not sure. I know we talked about it. It's possible that it got missed because we had such a quick turnaround in order to have the decorations done, with things being I believe the schools closed the week before Thanksgiving, and we had the tree lighting right after. So I do apologize if that was missed. It was our intent to get it out, to reach out to as many of the students as we could. I know that the art teacher at Manchester posted it. She said she posted it in all of her classrooms, so all of those students were able to see it that way. But I apologize if it wasn't out in multiple
Yeah, that's
places.
fine. But I mean,
Just
like,
to
even the
clarify,
tree
though-
lighting ceremony in itself, like, that was never posted on Town of Manchester. You would think, you know what I mean? Like, you would think that would be like a community kind of gathering activity that would be posted on the town site.
I can tell you with the ornaments, every year, for as long as I can remember, as long as I've been here, one of the grades at Manchester Elementary would make the ornaments, and then they were able to walk down from Manchester Elementary, come to the town hall, and decorate the tree themselves. And that was a tradition that was for a long time, until this year. So that I do know. And I thought the tree lighting was on the calendar. But we can check it. I mean, there are definitely improvements we can.
yeah, Kelly, I could say, and for you know, for the caller, I don't disagree with you. You know, nothing was intentional. I'm speaking extremely conversationally and frank right now. Thanksgiving was a time where, you know, we as a town, regardless of our personal feelings of how open we should be or not be, that there's, you know, we have a job to do, and there's a lot of, you know, people that are in different circumstances. Thanksgiving is a really tough time because we're getting guidance from the county and the state on what we can and shouldn't do. Black Friday is a long-standing tradition in Manchester that brings in several groups, including the town, the churches, the Merchants Association, the fire department, the police department, and everybody within that group had to make their own decision on to what extent they were going to participate in what they were going to do. And so, you know, quite frankly, we got kind of pushed back on saying, you know, what do we advertise? And it's the day after Thanksgiving, and we're getting this guidance on Thanksgiving. And so different groups had decided different things. So we didn't really get to properly advertise it, but we did feel it was important to go forward. I mean, would it have been great to have, you know, greater participation and be able to advertise it more? Absolutely. I agree with you. You know, I was there. There weren't a ton of people there. I'm glad that we did it. You know, but the churches had to make their own decision. The Mama group did not run the same the same Black Friday event. It just didn't look like years past. And you know, all I can say is, you know, we did get to do it. I hope that I hope that next year looks like what we all remember.
Mr. Mayor, you want me to answer the tree trimming question that Mrs.
If you
Hale
can,
had?
yes.
Okay, Mrs. Hale, the council at the October 13th meeting approved a bid with Bartlett Tree Service. Their estimated completion date, I'm looking at their contract, is December 6th through January 4th. So you should be seeing something happening out there within the next month or so.
Great, thank you.
Does
Okay,
that?
thank you for your time and all of your hard work for the town.
Thanks for calling in. Any other questions or thoughts for this group before we conclude? Hearing none, I have two final comments. One is to compound on Councilwoman Miller. Thank you to the town staff, the students that did volunteer their time and efforts to make decorations for the town tree. There were a handful of folks, you know, out there. It was warm. It definitely was not like years past, but it felt good to get the town Christmas tree lit, to have some sense of normalcy. I have received several points of feedback that you know, people liked it, that is up and going. So you know, we're in the process of getting the town you know, decorated for the holidays, and I think that'll continue. And then, you know, finally, I think it's the first time in 22 years, you know, been able to say this for a game going on tonight is, you know, go Ravens. So those of you that are Ravens fans, enjoy the rest of the game. I don't think we've ever had a Tuesday game with the Ravens, certainly not one during one of our meetings, but unusual times. Anybody else have anything before we conclude? All right, hear none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
All right, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
I heard second from, I believe,
Me. And then Vince.
Who's me? All right,
Debbie. You heard from Debbie and Vince.
Councilwoman Howe is a second. Motion second. All those in favor say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
All right. Good night. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Stay safe. And for those on the council, we're going to work to get something for this personnel policy. If it has to be by Zoom because we just simply can't get together, then I think that's what we're going to have to do. I know in person's better, but we just don't know what the next month's going to look like at this point.
Good night, everyone.
All right.
Night.
Merry Christmas.
Good night.
Happy New Year.